everyone, it's Rita. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I would really appreciate it if you hit the red button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. So today we are going to be taking a look at Wayne Goss's new release. So he just released an eyeshadow palette and 3 eyeliners, which I did pick the full collection. I'm gonna just show you kind of like this eye look that I did today, and I'm gonna show you the swatches of both the palette and the eyeliners. So the palette retails for $55. I have here my notes on the Beautylish website. So it retails for $55 and it's available at Beautylish. And the eye kohl pencils retail for $14, and you can either get the kind of like separate, like the eyeshadow palette and then the eye kohls, or you actually can get like the little bundle and get the full collection, which is what I did, and this retailed for $97. So I did pick it up as soon as it came out. I kind of like wanted to test it out a little bit more before I just filmed a kind of like first impression. So this is going to be sort of like a review more than a first impressions. To take a look at the palette itself, it's going to be these kind of like very sleek, I don't want to say it's black because it's not black, it's kind of like a more blackish maroon shade. I am kind of blind, so keep that in mind. But I do like that it's very slim and it's very sleek. Like, it's probably the size of my hand, you can probably tell right there. It's not very big. It only has 6 shades. Of course, they are not named. They're just, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. The actual name of the palette is going to be the Luxury Eye Palette, the Imperial Topaz. And I feel like for the price, it is, of course, a luxury brand of makeup, so you cannot expect cheap prices. But I feel like for the amount of product you're getting, I mean, the pen sizes in this is absolutely huge. So this is probably the eyeshadow palette that I have that has the biggest pens on the eyeshadow palette. So that being said, I do feel like the price is very very just for what you're getting. It does not have a magnetized closure. It's just kind of like you just shot it together, but it is very it's a very hard plastic that I feel like it would be perfect for traveling. And it has, of course, a big mirror right there, and then you get your 6 shades. I am going to be showing you a clip of the of some arm swatches, and it is not going to be for everyone. I feel like if you don't like warm shadows, you're definitely not gonna like it. There might be just like one shade here that's kind of like more cooler tone, which is going to be that middle one, which is just called the number 2. But in general, this is going to be a very neutral, very basic palette. I am not surprised at all that Wayne came out with his first palette as something, you know, as neutral and basic as this, because of course he's a professional makeup artist, and I feel like he's always guided towards makeup that is kind of like more, I always say this, like in this way, kind of like a more grown-up, classy makeup. That is the kind of makeup that I like. Even before, when I was younger, I've never really done a lot of, I mean, I'm not a makeup artist, of course, but I've never really done a lot of colorful shades. So this is just perfect for me, and perfect for anyone who has a small collection or who doesn't have a lot of makeup. I feel like this would be a good addition because you can go very easily from a light to dark, you know, eye look, and you can go from like day to night very easily. This is going to be, it kind of reminds me, honestly, of the Quads by Charlotte Tilbury, and I am not surprised about that because he's a huge fan of Charlotte Tilbury and he's been very vocal about that. So this shades, especially her older quads, I feel like now she kind of like has changed her formulation, and the shades are kind of like a little bit more different than what she originally started with. Like the original Pillow Talk and all those original quads, the shades are more, we're talking about this one, the shades, but I just want to compare it to those because the shades are kind of like more subtle, so you definitely have to work with them to get more intensity. To me, that is a very good thing. Same thing with this one, of course, we're referring to this palette. The shades are going to be something that you definitely build up. So I think that's a very important thing because he's catering for everyone. So if you're not familiar with eyeshadows, which again, I'm not a makeup artist, but I feel like I do know a little bit more. I've been doing my eyeshadow for a very long time. But there's a lot of people who, just in general, they're not makeup artists, they're not familiar with it, but they just want to have an eyeshadow palette that they can refer, like they can use, and they're going to love. I'm really enjoying this palette. I know that I was mentioning earlier that it's just a very basic palette. It is. I mean, you only get 6 shades, and they're all very neutral, very basic. Probably something that if you have any shadows in your collection, you probably have these shades already. But I feel like it's going to be a perfect palette for someone who doesn't have a huge collection, for someone who's even started with makeup and wants to give themselves kind of like that little luxury of I'll have everything in one palette. Because yes, you're gonna get your very basic shades with this and you're gonna get a very basic eye look, but you can definitely mix and match and definitely get a little bit more intense and more smoky with this black. It is not going to be like a super intense pigmented black. You probably saw in the clip that it doesn't translate as pigmented whenever you're applying it on your eyes as whenever you do kind of like a simple swatch on your hand. And even in the hand, it's not going to be super intense black. But I do appreciate that, because whenever I first saw this palette, I was like, oh, I wish instead of that black, there had been a chocolate brown. Because personally, I don't use black as often. Whenever I do use a black, it's going to be to literally just line my eyes, and probably that's about it. Because whenever I want to darken or kind of like do a more smoky eye, I like to go for dark browns. Why? Because of the easy of use. It is way harder to use a black. Just realistically, whenever you have a very intense pigmented black, it is just very intimidating. And if you're not familiar with eyeshadows or blending, it can get very messy very fast. So I do appreciate that this one, you can definitely build it up, but it's not going to be intimidating because it's not kind of like as intense and pigmented as other blacks that I have in my collection. I was of course very happy whenever I saw the palette and I saw this little shade up here, because in personal taste, I absolutely love that kind of like more rusty orangey browns. So I thought that was just perfect. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and for everyone who loves cooler tone shades might not want to pick this up, and I wouldn't even recommend it, because if you don't like neutral warm shades, you probably are not going to like this palette. To me, it's just a perfect little addition, because of course I love Wayne and I love to support what he does, and he's an amazing makeup artist. I've been following him and watching him for years at this point. I did a lot of like my beginning of like starting into makeup because of him, because of Lisa Eldridge. So of course whenever they come up with something, I want to support them, because they are people that I back up because I love their work. But anyway, just in general, even if you have, not even a care in the world for Wayne, I think this is still a beautiful palette to have in your collection, especially if you have a smaller collection. So if you're someone who just starting out in makeup and you're not very familiar with blending and do like super intricate eye looks, I think this is going to be a beautiful addition to your makeup collection, even if it's a small one. The shades are just very pretty. They are very easy to blend and they are not powdery. So I really love that, because whenever you're just starting with makeup, the last thing you want to do is kind of like start doing your eyeshadow and then you have a ton of fallout in your face. So these are not going to be that like extremely soft to the touch and buttery. Whenever the shadows are like that, they are usually a little bit more loose, and whenever you start blending, you can see like that little that little excess falling in your face. And even whenever you just tap in your brush, this is going to be, I don't want to say drier formula, but yes, because you don't have that extra super mild like powder that's gonna fly everywhere as soon as your brush touches the shade. As for the eyeliners, I really like them. They're gonna be kohl eyeliners. I really do like them. I feel like the quality is very good. The price point is absolutely good because they are $14. I feel like eyeliners always start at like $19, $20 for like a more luxury higher end. So I do love the price point. They're eye kohl pencils, so they're not going to be they're gonna be something that you have to kind of like use your sharpener, but that's not a big deal for me. Just wanted to mention it. I feel like they are very pigmented, very creamy. I don't think that they're like extremely soft. Like for instance, the Charlotte Tilbury, or I also really do like my MAC eyeliners. So those are very creamy and very soft. These ones don't feel like that. These ones feel a bit more drier. But even like that, even with that kind of like more drier formula, I still think they're absolutely stunning. Anyways, and I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just a quick little overview of the palette. Let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna be picking it up. Again, I highly recommend it. I feel like it will be perfect for nearly everyone if you like, of course, the more neutral, warmer shades. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up and please subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!